be there. But has your thoughts about this, have they changed or evolved over the years? I mean, should every strong girl or woman strive to play in the open tournaments, or is there some sense in women's tournaments as well? I mean, what is your take on that these days? I mean, how do you say that?
I think simply there are many things in life that that's the way it is. And just because that's how it is these days for many years, let it be that way, because it's easier than to make changes, right? Mm-hmm. Because to make changes, usually people do changes when it's very necessary. Either it's someone who likes very much adventures and they just change because of the adventure part. But generally people like things that they do, the patterns, they do it frequently, right? So they don't want to change. And again, women in chess and having tournaments for women only, it is something like that why should we? Why should we change? Why should coaches change their mindset? Why should the circumstances change? So it is a very tricky question, and obviously you can imagine how many times I've received this question, that what do I think about women's chess? Do I think we should be deleting all the women tournament? And what should we say to kids? And what should we do in the club? And what should we do here? And
Yeah.
So one of the things, and many times I'm thinking about it, that what is a solution? Is there a solution? Does anybody care about it to make a difference? Perspective for women, because there are many angles of it, right? So, I mean, there are quite a few ladies who are on the top who really work hard in some period of their life. They worked hard, they dedicated their hours every day, many hours, even though they had family, kids, whatever, they really focused on becoming a champion, right? So you do see quite a few ladies on the top who have this incredible fighting spirit and dedication and love for the game. But it's interesting for me that I've never spoken with the lady from the top who said that, yes, I believe that women can become just as good as guys, because there is no difference. Mm-hmm. There is difference, but it's not the difference women and men have that it would stop you from becoming a top 10 player, let's say. So this way it's difficult because, of course, many of the top ladies, you're top in your own country, you're a role model. You want it or you don't, you're the role model of the country, right? So it does matter what they say also to girls, to the next generation, to the parents, what the coaches are telling to the small ones, whether you can become a world champion and become better than Magnus, or you tell them that you can become better than Hu Yifan, let's say, you know, because then you position them in a very different way. But for example, lately I was thinking that, is there something, let's say one thing that we could change, and then maybe the environment and the life of chess and girls and women in chess would change. I thought that maybe it would be possible, and it would be just a very good try to test it at least, to delete the women titles. You know?
That's quite something.
I mean, why do we have women titles? Why don't you have title for 2000, for 22, for 23, for 24, for 25, for 26, 27? Isn't it much better to have the rating titles and not that it's women or men?
Mm-hmm. Which would create an entirely new situation, perhaps.
But you know, it's very interesting that sometimes with a very simple thing, very big changes can happen. Because suddenly the mindset of ladies would also say that, okay, it does not matter whether I play on an open tournament or a women tournament. I'm aiming to get this title. This title belongs to my rating, not to the gender question. Mm-hmm. It's my strength. It's my knowledge. It's what I can perform, right?
Yeah.
So I think that would be kind of a first step, which could be extremely simple solution, and it would not hurt at all, nor women nor men.
Oh, that's very interesting, because I think in general you're right that you shouldn't be too dogmatic about whether there should be women's tournaments or not. But it's all individual choices at some point. I mean, you wanted to play the strongest tournaments. I think Hu Yifan had that ambition, and I seem to remember an interview with Zhu Wenjun when she said, I don't want to be, well, women world champion per se. I want to play I want to get stronger in an absolute manner. And that is probably something which you don't see in a broad sense in women's chess, that there is this ambition within the limits of women's chess.
Yeah, but I think it's very important for our audience to understand that we many times talk about women chess and open competition. But the main thing is we are really talking about, until a certain point, we talk about women. There are 2,200 players. Yeah. 2,200 players, women or men. For a girl, for example, of 9 years old, who is a 2,100 player, let's say, I mean, she can play in a women tournament. There is no problem of that, because her opponents will be stronger or the same. 2,100, 2,300, whatever, right? So on that age, it's not a big issue whether you play on a women tournament or an open tournament. The question is, what is the strength of your opponent compared to your level? So this is kind of, it gets tricky when you really specify already the qualifications, the national events, then it's about the titles of that specific event. But generally speaking, when you're a kid, you can play girls, you can play boys, you can be teenagers, whatever. But see who you play with. So look your strengths and look your improvement from today to tomorrow, from tomorrow to day after tomorrow, because that's how you can improve. And then you look around what it is good for and where you reach. But I just don't see any point to specifically make a selection that where you play. But I'm very happy that there are some events and some organizers who are making serious steps in order to invite women to open section, even round robin events like Gibraltar, like Vacanze, like different open tournaments all over the world. So that is something I think very encouraging for ladies.
Yes.